Oh, hey, shit, that was awfully fast. That was before I expected it. We are live. We are on the air. Hey, folks, this is a new feature we're trying. It's a YouTube only Bamf comics chat called the Bamf Pull List Chat. And that's a horrible title. I'll probably think of a better one. The idea is we just get together real fast and talk about, what a few of us are reading and, what's good in comics these days and what's maybe not so good. And here with me today are two of my frequent co-hosts. There's Walt Rebelliard. How you doing, Walt?
Hola, soy bien.
Hey, good to see you. And from across the pond, Aid Smith. How you doing, Aid?
Not too bad, thank you.
All right. So let's start with Walt. Walt, what are you reading these days?
It's no surprise that usually my stuff starts off with somebody other than the big two, and today is no different. Ninjak is going into a new series at Valiant. For those who don't know, Ninjak is kind of like the Batman of the Valiant universe. He was a British spy trained as a ninja. And for those who thought that was really, really weird, you have this new series that kind of explains why there are ninjas at MI6. So, but to back up, you start off with the really, really cool Ninjak #0. For those who have not gotten into Ninjak before, it's a really great place to start because it goes into the history of who Colin King is, how he kind of became Ninjak, and where he's going from there. The stories by Matt Kent, the pencils are by Francis Portella, colors by Andrew Dahlhaus, and the letters are by Dave Lamphere. Really good issue. It starts off kind of in the middle of action, and then through a series of flashbacks, he goes into kind of tell about his history. The art is very, very good and detailed.
Now, this is Ninjak
#0.
#0. I'm looking at #1 right now. It just came out November 15th.
Yes.
Where's #0? Oh, I don't see #0. Where do you get #0?
#0 is right there.
Okay.
All right. So this came out a couple of weeks before the new series, which is actually entitled Ninja K. And the #0 issue just kind of delves into what led Ninjak to be where he is today. And it all is told from the point of him infiltrating an organization to retrieve something and commit an assassination. So at the end of it, you're kind of left with a cliffhanger that leads into this week's comic, which is Ninja K #1. This was done by Christos Gage with art by, I believe it's Thomas Giorello, and then colors by Diego Rodriguez. You find out that the ninja program over at MI6 has been like since World War I. The Japanese and the German, the Japanese had wanted the German interests in the Pacific, so they teamed up with the British to kind of make that happen during World War I. As a kind of thank you, they donated, thankfully, to this amazing artwork. They donated a ninja, and who was on loan to the British government. And as the British were kind of smart about this, they knew that he wasn't going to be there forever. At some point, the Japanese were going to pull him back. So they had him train a whole bunch of new ninjas to kind of serve as MI6's secret hand to kind of do the dirty work that I guess James Bond wasn't up to. So, but the art in this is amazing. The story is really good, intermixing history with a lot of cool stuff in the Valiant universe. And it brings it into the modern day where Colin King, the current Ninjak, which Ninjak is actually short for Ninja K. Each ninja in the program has their own letter associated with it. Kind of like the Bond has 007, 003, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, and it appears to be a problem with the ninja program at MI6, and somebody is executing not only the instructors, but the other ninjas that are part of the program. So they bring in Ninja K, a.k.a. Colin King, to kind of deal with that. The art is amazing. If I haven't said it already, the art is gorgeous. And it's really a book to pick up. So if you're interested at all in the Valiant universe, this is a really good place to start because it touches on the Valiant universe and allows you to see glimpses as you delve into this program. So really cool stuff.
All right, cool. Now, is that your one book this week, or do you have a couple?
Just the other one I had is, of course, Dr. Aphra, number 14. I got Marvel Unlimited, and I originally came to Dr. Aphra from that, and I really enjoy the character, so I went out and I collected everything I could up to that point, and now I'm all caught up. So in the last episode, which was number 13, we saw some crazy ancient Sith artifacts get absconded and go absolutely wrong. Darth Vader gets involved. It's a real mess, and Dr. Aphra escapes by the skin of her teeth. And for those who don't know, Doc Aphra is a kind of like a cross between Indiana Jones and Han Solo. So instead of, hey, this art is gorgeous, it belongs in a museum, it's like, hey, this weapon is functional, it belongs in a war. So her whole job is to find ancient weapons technology that people have either lost or forgotten, kind of recover it so that she can sell it for outlandish prices. And in the latest episode, she's going to steal some Clone War era data from an Imperial facility when she runs into an old acquaintance who pretty much, like everybody else, wants to make her dead. But we find out at the end of the book, the two droids that she used to have with her have what's that?
They're crime lords now, right?
Yeah, they've taken over a big part of the underworld, and you really don't know how it happened. You get a hint of it in issue 13 at the end. There's a couple of epilogues, and you're really kind of taken aback because you're like, whoa, how did this happen? And this is kind of neat the way they did it. But then at the end of this, Dr. Aphra basically escapes by the skin of her teeth again, and we get a sense of these two droids are now also controlling her. So it's kind of left at a cliffhanger to kind of figure out what the hell just happened. How did this fiercely independent weapons archaeologist go from, job to job, and now suddenly in the employ of two droid crime lords? It's really good.
She's working for Evil R2 and C-3PO. It's
it's so good.
Kieran Gale and the guy who writes that is amazing. I've really been enjoying it too. So, Aid, so what are you reading right now?
Well, this week was I believe this week because I got it this week anyway. This week was Doomsday Clock issue 1, the crossover between the Watchmen universe and the DC universe. Although obviously there is not a lot of DC universe in Doomsday Clock issue 1. It's lots of Watchmen stuff.
Now is Dr. Oz in this one?
Ozymandias is in this. We have a mention of Dr. Manhattan. We have a new Rorschach that we don't know who it is yet, but there is a potential for about 3 or 4 different people, I believe, if you go back to the original Watchmen series. But yeah, it's pretty good. It's
Ralph Dibny.
Sorry, Ralph Dibny. That would be pretty cool if it was. It's pretty interesting. It's set in '93. The Watchmen side of it is anyway. And it basically continues the story from what happened after Watchmen 12 with Ozymandias' alien encounter trick basically failing because they actually find out that he actually pulled the trick off. And even though it stalled the war for between the various nations for a short amount of time, he's now become the most wanted man on the planet, and pretty much everything else is falling apart. There's wars going on. There's a load of other bad stuff happening, and everything's kind of degenerating down to pretty much chaos all over the place. The new Rorschach has to break into one of the prisons to release. Crikey, what are the names of the characters in this? I want to say Punch and Jewelry because that's what the DC versions are. Oh my god, Mime and Harley Quinn, I think, or something like that. Anyway, but no reason why at all. It's really strange. They literally, it kind of breaks them out, and they get out and they meet Ozymandias, and neither of them have got powers. Just as normal Watchmen stuff, they just seem to be regular people. The incredibly cool thing about the Mime is that he just pretends he's got equipment He has to basically. There's a scene in there where he goes, "Okay, well, the mime can't leave without his equipment. He has to go to the lockers to get his equipment." So Rorschach goes, "Okay, fair enough." And they go off, they trot, and he opens the thing up, and he just pretends to put a belt and a helmet and a gun in his hand off. And they go, "You're just really bizarre, aren't you?" But yeah, and then there's a very short section right at the end of it with Superman having a nightmare about Moran Park Kent dying when he was at college or school, high school, and that's literally the entire issue. There's not. It's a very slow burn. It does seem to work pretty well as a Watchmen sequel. You can see. Some people say don't ever touch Watchmen, leave it as it is, but it was originally obviously Charlton Heroes anyway. So technically speaking, it's one of the DC multiverse, and now with the introduction of these two other characters, which are the Watchmen versions of Punch and Jewelry from DC. It just becomes a little bit more shifted towards the DC multiverse as well. So, we've already got analogs, obviously, for Captain Atom and the Question. So why not other characters as well? So, but
now,
yeah,
did they touch the big reveal? Now, is this that was in Action Comics 900 and something, 987, I think. Of who Mr. Oz is? Did they get into that?
Nothing. This is what's so bizarre, because there's literally a small section with a flashback to the end of Watchmen 12 where Dr. Manhattan says that he's going to leave this. I think he says he's going to leave this universe to one that's less complicated or something like that. And that's pretty much the only mention of Dr. Manhattan at all. There's no mention of Oz in the Superman section. There's no mention of Jor-El. There's nothing like that. Any leading from it wasn't until today that I was going to talk about that I actually realised this is possibly this is an actual continuation of the Action Comics series, because I got the lenticular cover, and the lenticular cover is Rorschach's face with the Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman symbols. So it's not even really a Superman Watchmen book; it's a DC Universe Watchmen book. So it'd be interesting to see how it pans out. But yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Okay, all right. I haven't been caught up on DC in a while. I'm really curious what's going on there. What else are you reading these days besides Doomsday?
So Doomsday Clock, I'm getting Wildstorm, which is still pretty decent. We're nearly halfway through. We're on issue 9 of Wildstorm now, so about a third of the way through. That's pretty decent. Again, not a lot happening, slow burn stuff. Lots of reveals of characters we've seen elsewhere that have obviously been in old Image comics or other iterations of Wildcats before now, with a few others like Deathblow's in there and a couple of other characters. But they've kind of just revealed that Emp and his alien crew came to Earth and basically kind of like hid away for ages and ages and ages. But there's supposedly like this secret mission they were coming to Earth for, and he's kept it secret from the main character, and that's pretty cool as well. But again, another slow burner. You get the issues where there's like a sudden burst of action where crikey, what's his name now? I want to say it's Cole Cash, but I can't remember his name. Anyway, Grifter, thank you. Where Grifter takes it like 13 people in a room or something like that. You get like a couple of 5-page stuff with that. And then you get issues where nothing happens apart from several people chatting about stuff. But
this is Warren Ellis, though, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of world building going on here, and obviously last month we just had the first issue of Michael Cray, which is the Deathblow comic that goes with it, and the Michael Cray comic, which I haven't read yet, but I have the first issue, is going to be investigating him taking down or at least encountering a version of Green Arrow, a version of the Flash, a version, I believe, of Aquaman, all coming up as well. So yeah, again, another DC multiverse thing that's kind of tied in there, but slightly different from the original core universe. So that's going to be pretty cool.
I think Warren Ellis likes to do the slow burn like that. Honestly, Wildstorm kind of reads to me like a you ever read William Gibson, like Neuromancer, that kind of stuff? Yeah, I think he's trying to do like one of William Gibson's later novels where he sort of balances near futurism and world building, with occasional snippets of action.
Yeah, The interesting thing about it is obviously we've got on the front cover you've got the little countdown clock for like the 24 issues.
Yeah.
So you kind of know it's obviously going to build to something. Whether or not those 24 issues is going to be, I mean, they did say originally it was going to be 24 issues and that was it. Whether or not we've got 24 issues and then we're going to have spin-off books after, like, and Wildstorm's going to go off and we'll have a grifter book and whatever, and it will continue that way. No, that hasn't been said yet. But I quite like the idea of reading a book and going, okay, what was revealed in this issue? Okay, right, that's 9 of 24. What's going to be in 10 of 24? What's going to be 11 of 24? So.
Yeah, it's interesting. I generally like Warren Ellis, but yeah, he's definitely got a certain style you can spot, and lots of talking heads and world building interspersed with the occasional cinematic action piece. So yeah, I mean, I've been reading it too. I'm interested to see where it goes. So anything else?
The only other thing I've got, again, because I'm so far behind, is the Batman Dark Knight Metal series, which is pretty decent. But I have every single issue of the standalone with the Batman Who Laughs and the Devastator and all that kind. But I haven't actually had a chance to read them yet, so I can't say how good they are. I can kind of flicking through, you get the impression they seem to be like origin stories for each and every one of those versions of Batman, which seem to be based on the negative versions of Earth from the main multiversity books. We've got the Earth 11, which is whatever world that is, and this is the negative version of that. So the dark multiverse. And I know there's supposed to be a book coming out which is going to have them all kind of tied together as a big group of 5 or 6. Whether or not they'll survive this and they'll come back again and again like classic villains, or whether or not this is going to be their only outing. But all in all, the actual core book of the Metal series, I think, is pretty decent. It's just the crossovers into Justice League and the Flash I've kind of left alone. So
okay, well, I'm interested to hear how that goes. It's like Walt was saying before the show. I've just been looking at previews and stuff, and my impression of Metal has just been that's getting kind of weird. I think I've read the first 2 issues, and I haven't really kept up with it. But
it's pretty cool. I say the interesting thing is it seems to be touching on a lot of even though it's sold as a Batman event book, there's a lot of DC universe in it. There's Green Lantern shows up in the first issue, and Wonder Woman's going to be in it, on all the rest of the Justice League and all this kind of thing. So it's not just a Batman crossover book. But I think there's like 2 more issues to go of the core book, and then you've got a special with Hawkman in it, which hopefully means we're going to get another version of Hawkman, which would be pretty cool. And then obviously you've got the stuff that's been relisted for February, which is all the new books like Silencer and the Terrifics and all that kind of stuff. The Forever Men, I think it's called, or Mortal Men or whatever, the Jim Lee book. That's all spinning out of Metal as well. So obviously there's a lot of stuff there kind of banking on this. But again, I like the fact that it's not got too many time books. I mean, it's with Marvel's, Secret Invasion or whatever. If you read the core books, you was like, oh, where's half the story? So it's nice to just be able to have to buy 1 or 2 extras. So
yeah, I hear you. There's a lot going on there. Well, for me, just got 3 books I want to talk about today. I'll keep it quick. Titan Comics has brought back the Hammer horror character Captain Kronos. Friend of the podcast, Dan Abnett's writing it. It's been really good. I think it really captures kind of the vibe of those sort of 70s vampire movies. I'm like issue 3 so far. It's just starting to heat up. But really enjoying it so far. Marvel's got a new guy on Moon Knight, and they keep rebooting Moon Knight. This is written by Max Bemis. Penciler is boy, I'm going to sound like an asshole here. How do you pronounce Jacen? Is that Jason?
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jason Burrows, and he does some of the inking along with Guillermo Ortega.
Jason Burrows, yes, the Providence artist from Alan Moore's Providence. Very good stuff.
Yeah. So it's a new Moon Knight thing. He's got all 4 personalities now. Sorry, all 3. And there's an avatar of Ra, loose in New York City, and they're getting ready to meet up. The last issue was pretty much setting the groundwork for, hey, there's this guy who thinks he's Ra and has flame powers in town. This one, you kind of get back to Moon Knight, and it's a good single issue. It sets up the plot a little bit more, but you actually get to, see see the main character taking out a minor villain in a pretty interesting fight. It's not going so well as Mark Spector, so he has to change personalities mid-fight to Jake Lockley to be able to win. And it just works for me. There've been so many bad Moon Knight comics. It's kind of cool to have, last 2-3 years has been pretty decent. Something else I'm reading, I don't know if you guys have been checking it out, from Dark Horse. It's the last year or so there's been a series called Black Hammer. And the theory behind Black Hammer is that, you've got these superheroes, and some people say it's Golden Age, but it feels more like Bronze Age to me. And there's a big apocalyptic battle. This hero called Anti-God, who's basically Darkseid, is coming to their home city, and they manage to beat him. But the instant they beat him, they all get teleported to some world they don't know, and they're on some Midwestern farm, and in different identities, and none of them can leave. And so Black Hammer for the last year has been, how do these guys deal with not being heroes anymore, and sort of, living in Siberia, and what's keeping him in town. And they actually haven't answered any of those questions too well. They're just kind of giving us some backstory, but it's been a lot of fun. It's well written. And now they got a spin-off to that series called Sherlock Frankenstein. Sherlock Frankenstein is one of the big villains in the Black Hammer universe, but he's not. The book hasn't really been about him for his issue 1. It's just kind of looking at some of the other villains in that setting. Last issue looked at a guy named Cthulhu, who was. They have a lot of puns in this setting. Cthulhu was a plumber who was working in the sewers of Spiral City, who got possessed by an eldritch evil from beyond time, and his name was Lou. So he became
Cthulhu. That's great.
So, but yeah, the first issue was to track down Sherlock Frankenstein, and looking into that. The second issue, it's Black Hammer's daughter who was left behind when he got transported away at the end of that battle. And so it's kind of looking at, this is the aftermath of a superhero universe where the heroes disappeared. And in the case of Cthulhu, he just kind of stopped fighting for various reasons. He was always kind of a C-list villain, but no one really knows where Sherlock Frankenstein is. He's kind of the guy in like the Lex Luthor position in their universe. So you kind of think he's been up to something, but it's issue 2. You don't know what yet. So anyway, it's been a fun book. I recommend checking it out. It's a different... it's a different kind of feel, but there's a lot of nods and homages, as there always are in these sorts of things. The guy writing it, Jeff Lemire, I think he did Sweet Tooth.
He did do Sweet Tooth. He also had a pretty decent run on Swamp Thing as well.
Yeah. So
it's very good.
I enjoyed the writing and the dialogue, but I could see how this book, especially Black Hammer, might read a lot better in trade. Just because, as I guess we mentioned a few other books, there's kind of a slow burn. It's almost like they're writing for the trade these days. So.
That's exactly what I thought when I thought about Doomsday Clock. It's like, okay, this is going to be 12 issues. This is going to possibly go to next October, November time. Are they going to collect this halfway through, or are they going to wait to do one big hardcover? Because I reckon reading this with one big hardcover will be pretty decent.
Yeah, there's a lot of books these days I read. I'm like, I kind of wish I could just fast forward to 6 months to a year and just read the trade paperback. But yeah, hey, there you go.
Well, some people are saying that should be the way they do books. So it's like, okay, well, don't give us miniseries and don't give us this. Just release hard covers or soft covers every 6 months and do it that way, and then see what sales go. But
well, then you got guys like the folks that are doing Star Power. They release 1 page a week, 2 pages a week now, Mondays and Wednesdays for their book digitally, and then they only go to Kickstarter when they're going to do a trade.
So that's a pretty decent way of doing it, because you've got the material. Yeah.
Right, and not only that, but the readers who, like myself, I catch it every Monday and Wednesday, but I'm always good for the trade. I always back the Kickstarter because I want that physical reward on my shelf, because the artwork and the writing is so good. It really deserves to have a spot on the shelf. If you're not checking it out, you're really doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. I mean, I've been thinking about this in terms of RPGs lately, because I kickstarted so many games over the years, and I kind of just forget about it if they're in PDF form. But if it's actually a book I can put on my shelf, every once in a while I pull it out and take a look at it. I mean, I love Comixology, but I hate to say it, I even have trades on Comixology, but it's not often I go back and reread something.
Well, I largely buy trades on them, especially when we had the Amazon sale a couple months ago. And I was picking up like the Marvel Masterworks for Spider-Woman and Miss Marvel, the two of those, and they were like £1.50 each, down from 25 quid or something ridiculous. So yeah, sorry. Anyway.
Wow, that's really affordable. So yeah, it's I don't know. I like reading stuff on Comixology because I ride the bus. It comes in handy. But yeah, having a physical object. Yeah, I had a gaming Kickstarter I had backed a couple months back. Die of My Heart, Hawkman. And the guy's whole thing was he was just making Hawkman miniatures, nothing else, just Hawkman miniatures. And I actually got it in the mail the other day, and I was just so freaking happy putting this thing together. I was like, huh, I think I missed something out, but it's going PDF only on everything else. So,
well, yeah.
Of course, I'm saying that I got a bookshelf behind me with, like, first and second ed of Mutants and Masterminds, which haven't been touched in a long time. So.
Yeah, that's always good though. Yes, I like to say if I go back to my gaming bookshelves, I've got like every version of Dungeons and Dragons. So it's like, yeah, do I go back and play them? Probably not. I'm probably still playing 5th edition, but it doesn't mean I don't want the first to 5th.
Indeed. Boy, and that is wrapping up the first episode of Bamf Podcast Pull List. Any closing thoughts, Walt and Aid?
Read more comics. Give us some ideas on what you want us to check out.
Yes, that's a good one. Yeah. Very good.
Yeah, any suggestions? Yeah, we would love to hear that. If you're a creator who wants to come on and talk about comics, hit us up. We'd love to talk to you.
And don't forget our Patreon.
Oh, shit. Thanks, Walt. If you go to patreon.com and search for Bamf Podcast, you will find us. And we would love you to help keep us on the air. And we don't have tote bags and coffee mugs and shit. But, hey, check us out. So. That was supposed to be funnier than it wound up being. But, All right. Hey, thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you in a couple weeks. Bye.
Cheers.